Alright, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be comparing Niri versus Hyprland. I have been using Hyprland for quite a while. For the most part, Hyprland has been my main driver for at least like a year-ish now. So just recently, I started using Niri as well, just testing it out on my configuration. And so I've come across some things that Niri has done really well that Hyprland either doesn't do exactly the same way or just does slightly differently. I want to go over the differences between the two, between Niri and Hyprland, and give you a rundown. If you're trying to decide which one's right for you, you can pick the one that makes the most sense. Hyprland is a 100% independent dynamic tiling window manager, and it's on the Wayland compositor. So it provides all the latest Wayland features, and it's highly customizable. As you can see here, it has all the eye candy with different plugins and animations. It has a full list of features available right now. And I think that is the biggest thing as far as differences go, is that, Hyprland is just a little bit further along than Niri is, because Niri is pretty new. So there are more features, especially around the gaming area with tearing support and stuff like that. There are some limitations that you're going to find on Niri. Niri, on the other hand, is a scrolling tiling window manager. So basically, as you spawn windows, they spawn to the right of the window and continuously go down like the row. So as you spawn them, it does not resize the current window. It just spawns a new window beside the window. So essentially, I have my browser open right now. If I want to open a terminal, it's going to spawn it to the left, or sorry, to the right. I can go back to the other window. It did not resize this window. It's still, full screen, but I have a new one tiled over here. So if I was on Hyprland, this would have shrunk this window down to this size, and then it would have spawned beside it. So that's the major difference in how the actual tiling works between the two. So Niri is just going to spawn to the right and not resize the window that you already have on your screen, and Hyprland is going to resize it so it tiles it all into one screen. It does not continue the row going forward. That is the major difference in how things are tiled between the two. Another thing that is a little bit different is how they're configured. So it's not really a huge difference, but basically everything is configured in configuration files for both of them. On Niri, you're going to configure the config.kdl file on your system. As soon as you load into Niri the first time, it automatically creates this file, and then you can come in here and start customizing what you need. On the Hyprland side of things, it creates a hyprland.conf file for you under hyper. It's .config/hyper and then /hyprland conf. And so mine is a little bit different because I'm on NixOS, so I have a mine's hyprland.next because it's part of my home manager setup. So it is a little bit different than what you would see on Arch or another distro, but you can still get the same concept here as far as how everything's set up. One thing I like about the way Niri's configuration file is, one, since it doesn't have as much features, it's not as big of a file. I mean, by default, the Hyprland one isn't crazy big, but it can get pretty long. I'm sure you've seen some different configurations that have really long ones, or they split it up into like different sources to have separate ones for like keybinds. So like I have a binds one and environment one. So you can have different configurations for each thing that you need on Hyprland, where everything is pretty much in one configuration on Niri. One thing that I think Niri does really well over the Hyprland one is the documentation within the configuration file itself. So all these commented out areas you see here where it's explaining everything, I did not add those in myself. Those are there by default when I actually added Niri. So it gives you explanations of what is going on in the configuration, so you can then edit it as you see fit to know what's going on and what you want to do to the file itself. Where Hyprland didn't have as much of that going on. I mean, there are some things that it does tell you throughout as you're going through it. When you first have it, some comments and stuff to tell you like you need to remove this if you don't want the initial bar to show up at the top of the screen. But overall, you do have to rely on their wiki page and their documentation to make sure you are customizing everything the way it's supposed to be. Now, I will say that wiki and the documentation is great. They have very good documentation on their wiki page, and it's very detailed and straightforward, and you can pretty much get everything you need from there. Some quick Google searches and you'll find everything that you need. When it comes to Hyprland, since it is pretty popular and a lot of people are using it, it's very easy to find, fix your issues because people have already been through it, so you can find your answers as you need it. Niri is a little bit newer, so it's a little bit harder to find some things out of the gate, but for the most part, they do have pretty good explanation right here in the actual configuration file, so you don't have to really worry about leaving this too much unless you're trying to do something that is a little bit more involved. One thing that I did notice on Niri is it doesn't have as many like Wayland implemented features. For instance, with like input and display features, when I have a full screen game open, I have not been able to figure out how to lock my mouse into that full screen. I have 3 monitors, the main monitor in the middle and then a monitor on the right and the left. When I'm in the game, if I move my mouse outside of the monitor, it will detach and go to the other monitor, even if I'm in a game. On Hyprland, it does lock it. If I'm in a full screen game, the mouse does not leave unless I'm on the main home screen where it's able to detach. But if I'm in a game or a match, it does not allow me to move it. Luckily, I don't really use mouse and keyboard for playing games, and I do use gyro on controller, so that's not a huge deal for me, but there are times where I want to use my mouse and it's not locked to the screen. I'm sure there should be a fix for that, but I've been having issues with that, so it's just not out of the box working like it was on Hyprland. You may have to do some tinkering to get more things to work on Niri because it's not as far along in the development. So keep that in mind on which one you're picking. For me, I don't know which one I'm going to land on just yet. Right now I'm on Niri on this configuration that you see now, and I have been enjoying it. I like that it does not resize automatically the windows that I have open. When you open something new, like these are both already tiled. If I open another terminal, it opens to the right, and I still have this one available. You can make key bindings to move everything the way you want on the screen, so everything does become cohesive and easy to use once you get all your bindings down to what you want. Those are the major differences between the two. I hope this video is helpful to narrow down on which one you want to do. To recap, Niri is a little bit newer, but has a scrolling tiling window manager. Everything that spawns does not resize your old windows. It just adds it to the left, like in a row. Hyprland has been around for much longer, so you have more plugins and features available right now and better Wayland support. And for Wayland, whenever you spawn a new window, it's actually going to resize the current window that you have and spawn the window in the same screen, so it does not move it to the right. It's more of a traditional dynamic tiling window manager. Those are the major differences between the two. Let me know in the comments below which one you are more leaning towards or whichever one you use currently. And also, if you want to install my configuration, you can do so in the description below. It's a black.os, and you can install it on Nix. You will have to get used to using Nix if you're not already on that. I do have configuration files for Niri and Hyprland available on there, which you can get. If you enjoy my content, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.